Recording, lower shelf below the headland path. We haven't moved from the pre-registry structure. The objective is to identify whose names appear on the list and understand what the list is documenting. The card is in Hannah's hand. I'm looking over her shoulder. The device is back in my pocket. The interval has settled at 2 seconds since the card came free from the wall, and it hasn't moved from there. Whatever the device was tracking, it has found it. 23 names. That's my count. Hannah is holding the card at an angle to catch the morning light, and I am reading alongside her, going slowly because some of the older entries require time. The list runs top to bottom in a single column, no margins, no separation between entries, no dates, no annotations, just names, one after another, the handwriting changing as you move down the list. From scripts I don't recognize at the top to something older looking in the middle section, to handwriting that begins to look contemporary near the bottom. I want to record each name I can read in order, because order may matter. The top third of the list I can partially make out. The scripts are archaic enough that I can't be certain of spelling. I'm recording phonetic approximations. Hannah is doing the same beside me, quietly, not comparing notes yet. The middle section is more legible. 3 names I can confirm. L. Carter, I know that record. Status, closed. Active 1972 to 1974. Surface observer at Rook. C. Ashworth. Ledger entry from Season 1. Notation withdrawn. I have not found a full record for Ashworth anywhere in the network. And a third name, partial, the ink thin here, M. O'Con, the same truncation I've seen before. Martin O'Connor, his name is on this list. 3 investigators I can identify in the middle section alone, all of them connected to the network I've been investigating, all of them here, on the back of an artifact that predates the registry system that should have created their records. The bottom section is where the contemporary hands appear. The structure from here down, 4 entries, then a visible spacing gap, then the single entry above mine, then mine. 6 names total in the contemporary section, 4 obscured, 2 legible. Hannah has stopped moving her finger down the list. She's looking at the 4 names above the gap. She said, "These 4 are obscured." I looked where she was pointing. 4 names in the bottom section, above the gap, written in what appears to be the same ink as the others, but each one has been covered. Not scratched out, not torn. Covered deliberately, with a different ink applied over the top. The covering ink is darker, thicker. Whoever did this was careful. The obscured names are completely illegible. No letter forms visible through the covering layer. I examined the edges of the covering ink under the available light. The application is precise, not hasty. Hannah turned the card over and looked at the front face, then back at the list. She said, "The same ink that covered these names was used to add yours." I looked at my name at the bottom of the list. The ink is a match, same darkness, same consistency. Whoever obscured those 4 names also wrote mine, the same hand, the same session. Someone came to this card, covered 4 existing names, and added mine in the same visit. I don't know when. I don't know why the 4 were obscured. I don't know who made that decision or what the 4 names were. What I know is that my name was placed here deliberately by someone who also chose to remove 4 others. Hannah said we need to understand the ordering because it's not chronological. She's right. I noticed it while reading. The names don't progress from oldest to most recent in a simple line. O'Connor is in the middle section, which places him after some of the archaic script names near the top, which is consistent with his early 20th century dates. But Carter appears just above O'Connor, and Carter was active in the 1970s, decades later. They're adjacent on the list, but not because of when they investigated. Hannah studied the full list for several minutes without speaking. I let her work. I know what that silence means. She's found something. She said, "They're clustered, not by time, by place." She pointed to the archaic script entries at the top. These names, I don't know who they are, but the scripts suggest different language origins. different geographic regions, but they're grouped together, 3 scripts, adjacent. She moved her finger to the middle section. O'Connor and Carter are adjacent, both connected to this coastline, to this node cluster. Both of them ended up at Rook or its surrounding network. She moved to the bottom. The contemporary entries above the gap, whoever they are, they're grouped with the obscured names and with yours, the same cluster. I asked her what that meant. She said, investigators who work in the same region of the network end up adjacent on this list, not because they worked at the same time, because they worked in the same region of the system. I thought about that. O'Connor and Carter, separated by 50 years, but both tied to this headland, to the coastal nodes, to the same geographic cluster of archive locations. Adjacent on the list because the list is organized spatially, not temporally, and my name is in the same cluster as 4 names that someone chose to hide. I'm looking at the entry directly above mine. 2 entries above mine, there's a gap in the spacing. Visual break, not physical damage. 1 entry in that gap, then mine. The entry immediately above mine is in a different hand from the obscured names. It wasn't covered. It's legible. And the handwriting, I've seen this handwriting before. The shape of the capitals, the way the ink thins at the end of each stroke, a slight leftward pull on the descenders. I've handled a document in this investigation written in this hand. I am certain of that. I cannot place it. Hannah is watching me. She said, "You recognize it." I said, "I thought so." I said, "I couldn't identify it." She said, "Take a photograph. We'll find it." I photographed the card, both sides, multiple angles, the name section close enough to read. The device in my pocket is still at 2 seconds. It has not reacted differently to any part of the list. Uniform response. No single name triggering acceleration. Except, when I held the camera close to the entry above mine, the lens within a few centimeters of the name, 1.5 seconds. The same interval it produced at the cornerstone when we found the card. The device is reacting to that name the same way it reacted to the card itself. I didn't photograph the interval change. I'm recording it now instead, while we're still here, because I want it documented before the reading fades. 1.5 seconds. The name above mine on the list. The handwriting I recognize but cannot place. Hannah said, "We should get back to the origin site, cross-reference the list against the index." She's right. That's the next step. 23 names, and the index holds investigator records going back to the 1780s. Most of these names should have records. The ones that don't will tell us as much as the ones that do. I'm putting the card in my inside pocket. It's not going back into the wall. The device is at 2 seconds. We're heading back up the slope.